Yo, Sanjo Uchiha here, people, and based on this video title, based on the thumbnail, you know what time it is. Madara versus Aizen. Oh my god. Honestly, I didn't plan to do this video. This is actually a subscriber requested video. Subscriber reached out to me and asked me what my thoughts would be on a Madara versus Aizen video. And as I told him, I'm going to say here right now, it's not a straightforward battle. It's kind of 50-50 in my book. Because Bleach and Naruto are two series where you could probably be like definitely stronger than your opponent, but because of certain techniques, certain hacks, you could probably overcome your opponent based on strategy and all of that. So it's definitely not a straightforward battle by any means. Of course, I'm not based on that alone. I'm going into this with the idea that I'm not gonna like do it like a traditional versus battle, I suppose, by saying one character definitely beats the other by the end of the video, as I'm kind of doing this as more of an open-ended discussion. So this might be a multi-part video. I don't want this to be too long, honestly speaking. So it more of like an open-ended discussion video, which I could revisit in the future, probably when you guys want to join me on this to make it more of like a debate style. We can go back and forth. That would be good. So it'd be kind of like a casual open-ended discussion versus battle. Ridiculous, I know, but let me know what you think. So of course, Madara, Aizen, you guys know, two of the top villains, well, probably in Naruto's case, probably the top villain in Naruto. And I'd say Aizen, debatably if he's second to Iwabak, probably just in his whole build-up and all. Master manipulators, two of them have operated behind the scenes for majority of their respective series and are essentially, in a sense, the backbones of the story itself. They're not characters that just, I guess, they're not the Jiren, like in the sense, they're not just strong and that's it. They have contributed a lot to each of their series. Now, in terms of similarities for these two characters where a versus battle to death is concerned, Madara and Aizen have always portrayed, they have a lot of battle experience and it shows in each of their series. Of course, we've seen them going up against techniques, making countermeasures, analyzing and making countermeasures on the spot. This is something that's basically similar, yeah, it's similar to both ends of the spectrum for these characters. Of course, you could make the argument that Aizen, god damn it, stupid camera. Yeah, Aizen, he over here, yeah, he's been alive longer than Madara, but you could also make the argument that, hey, Aizen, god damn it, stupid camera. Yeah, Madara grew up in the Warring States period, and he's basically been fighting ever since he was a kid, while Aizen, even though he might have a lot of battle experience, he's spent a lot of his life on experimentations, and we have no backstory on Aizen, like, in terms of how he got that powerful, so, there's not much to say there, I suppose. So that's where, I guess, similarities lie. Master manipulators, highly intelligent, they're battle savvy, so there's that similarities. Now, moving on to like individual stuff before we get more into, I guess, verses. So we know on the Aizen side of things over here that he is a master at Kido, spells and incantations, which have varying uses, which could basically help to determine a battle like this. Of course, in terms of raw physical strength, he's pretty insane. He blocked Ichigo's Bankai with one finger and basically decimated the I was about to say universe. Seven, I believe it's 7. Yeah, and his Bankai easily. So in terms of raw physical strength, he's insane. In terms of speed, he puts Ichigo to shame, and we know Ichigo's Bankai is all about speed. Especially in the fake Karakura Town arc, he essentially approached and touched Ichigo's chest without Ichigo noticing, and it's just ridiculous. I would dare say Bleach characters maybe in general faster than Naruto characters. It's always been portrayed. On the Bleach side of things, Bleach characters have always been like based on how it's portrayed on screen, in terms of even durability, they always seem to be have this kind of Dragon Ball Z-esque levels of durability. So, like in terms of just raw like stats, it would seem like Aizen has the advantage here. Um, of course, I can't forget to mention his Kyokasui Getsu, his Zanpakuto, which once released and you see it, you're under perfect hypnosis. He controls everything you see, hear, smell, touch, feel. And of course, you're always under the effects of it. As long as he releases it, you're basically under his control, essentially under the hypnosis. So there's that. And it's not to mention the fact that under the effects of the Hyogoku, that his raw physical like endurance, stats, regen, and adaptability like become ridiculous. That he's able to take out like he could probably take out the entire 13 Court God squad like with ease in his Hyogoku state. And of course, post Hyogoku, his spiritual pressure has increased to the point that it's insane. If you've read the manga with the Thousand Year Blood War arc, he's essentially immortal by that point. So that's Aizen. Like he's OP, hacks, all of that. Madara. Oh, and of course, Aizen has taken out multiple captain level opponents with seem like ease, like multiple times in the Fate Karakura Town arc, pre Hogyoku and during the Hogyoku. So there's that. Madara Uchiha now, we know he's OP as well. Okay. So there's that. Yeah, so Madara, we know he's born with a ridiculous amount of chakra thanks to being the reincarnation of Indra, the older son in Sage of Six Paths. He's known as the ghost of the Uchiha, and basically he prior to Sasuke getting his Six Paths power up, he was the strongest Uchiha in history. First, him and his brother, first persons to awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan. He could basically, as a child, basically probably like what 10 to 12 during the Warring States period, he's taken out like adult Senju clan members even before awakening the Sharingan. We know as an adult he has ridiculous amounts of chakra and stamina, like enough to fight for 24 hours against Hashirama. And this is before, you know, establishing the ninja villages. We know he has a Sharingan, which has two main abilities: the Eye of like Insight and Eye of Hypnosis, so he can cast like high level genjutsu as well. Of course, we know with the Sharingan he can predict movements, copy jutsu, and all of that. He has the Mangekyo Sharingan, and even though we don't even know his Mangekyo Sharingan ability, we do know he has Susanoo, which in its like base form, like its initial stages, can block Naruto's ultra like big massive Rasengan, as seen on the field when he was reanimated. So there's that. And of course, as perfect Susanoo, he's multi-mountain level in terms of destructive capacity with just the shockwave of drawing his sword. And honestly, I don't think well, in Aizen's case, I don't think we've ever seen anything like that from Aizen. Only when he was in his Hogyoku state and post Hogyoku states we've seen anything like similar to that in terms of destructive capacity, if not greater. So there is that. And of course, he has Izanagi and Izanami. More than likely it's Madara, and I believe he does have all 5 elemental releases. So there's that. He's ridiculous in terms of strength. Like in terms of raw physical strength, I'd probably give it to Aizen, definitely. And I'm talking about, I should probably set a better stage for this versus battle, because yeah, so we're gonna have Madara during the war, if like hypothetically speaking, if he was alive during when he was reanimated, like at point if he was alive, had to his Rinnegan there, versus like pre-Hogyoku Aizen first, and then like everything after that would be like Ten Tails Madara versus I guess Hogyoku and post Hogyoku Aizen. So there's that. So yeah, continuing on Madara's side, he has a bunch of sealing jutsu. I'm pretty sure he's versed in sealing jutsus as well. Based on the fact that he taught Obito that barrier technique to protect the Ten-Tailed statue, the Gedomazo, during his battle against Naruto and all of those people. Of course, yeah. So Sharingan, Perfect Asano, all that. So round one. My hypothetical Madara during the war, both Renengan alive versus pre-Hogyaku Aizen. Now the thing is, Kyoka's in terms of technique, Kyokasui Getsu. This will be like the main part of this versus. It's debatable. One of the reasons why this battle isn't so straightforward. If would Kyokasui Getsu work? Now, we know the only weakness of Kyokasui Getsu within Bleach is that you can only go against the illusions, the perfect hypnosis, if you've never seen it, or if you are touching Kyokasui Getsu when Aizen releases. And then it comes into question, would Kyokasui Getsu, would Madara be able to see through it with the Sharingan? Like, these are like questions that make it hard to do these like cross-universe versus battles. So there's that. And then the question is, would Madara trying to put Aizen under Genjutsu work? Granted, within the Naruto verse, we've seen instances of Genjutsu working on like animals that I doubt have chakra. If you watch Naruto or read the manga, you know during the Infinite Tsukiyumi arc that people were put under Genjutsu before they even had chakra. So I would dare to say that, yeah, especially as a versus battle, I would dare to say that illusions would work on Aizen. But the thing is, I'm not sure if Kyokasui Getsu would work on Madara. Like it's really up for debate. That's one thing. So I think in terms of illusions, you could probably put it at a stalemate. As I've mentioned, I think in terms of raw physical strength, that Aizen definitely beats Madara. And the only thing I think Madara could come with that could basically equal Madara Aizen in physical strength, raw physical strength, is if he has the sage, well, I guess the senjutsu boost from absorbing Hashirama's senjutsu based chakra, which I'll give it to him as well in this. But I still think Aizen may come out on top here. Now, in terms of speed, it's kind of a debatable, like seriously debatable thing. I know Bleach characters are portrayed as ridiculously fast, and I've made a point to say that Aizen has even blitzed Bankai Ichigo during the Fake Karakura Town arc. But the thing is, what makes it more debatable is the fact that, okay, we have Naruto with high levels of effort outspeeding the Raikage, then getting a buff to his speed and all his stats when he achieves Tail Beast mode. But it's portrayed like characters like Madara and Obito don't really have any problems keeping up with Naruto. You get what I'm saying? So it kind of just makes it even more ambiguous to say, yo, who wins really and truly? Like, it's insane. Of course, I think in terms of raw destructive capability, that Madara could definitely beat Aizen here. Honestly, I don't really see Aizen having anything too crazy in his arsenal to overcome Madara's perfect Susanoo, because, I mean, I guess you could compare Komamura's, the Fox Captain's Bankai to a perfect Susanoo, but honestly, even Komamura's Bankai seems pale in comparison in terms of destructive capacity when you compare it to, say, Madara's perfect Susanoo, which is multi-mountain with just the shockwave of its sword alone. So, honestly, I could see Madara with the Sage Mode buff, and especially since he has the Renengan, Shinra Tensei, with his verse set of abilities, I could probably see Madara coming out on top if Aizen doesn't choose to end the battle like ridiculously fast. But then again, the thing you have to take in consideration, since Madara has the Hashirama buff, the cells of Hashirama, and the Sage Mode buff, he does have a slight regen factor as well. So even if Aizen were to say, flash step, boom, slice Madara, Madara more than likely would regen, and then it becomes a battle of testing to see what Aizen can do. I see Madara probably pulling out some wood clones with their own Susanoo, testing to see what Aizen can do. Of course, we know that the clones of Madara itself were enough to handle the 5 Kage, so they're comparable in strength, I'd say. Yeah, this is really difficult, honestly. And this video is going on 15 minutes already, and I haven't even covered say 10 Tails Madara versus. It's insane. Honestly, I could see Madara coming out on top here, based on hacks. Because I do foresee Madara potentially seeing through Kyokasui Getsu's perfect hypnosis with his Sharingan, honestly speaking. And then... And it's not that I'd say Madara has a wider move pool, because since Aizen is a Kido expert, he could potentially seal Madara, or potentially... Yeah, he has spells he could come up with. But it's a case where I think even if it could be possible that Aizen could probably match Madara's perfect Susanoo with raw physical strength. I don't know, combination of Kido spells. And then the thing is, Aizen's Kido spells in his pre-Hogyaku form, I haven't really seen him, it's just that Madara really has the destructive capacity through his perfect Susanoo in his favor in this case. And even if they're equal in all other forms, in terms of speed, and as I mentioned, it's debatable, it could be a case that Madara could Izanagi, sacrifice an eye if it comes to it, an Izanagi, and take Aizen by surprise, whether it be with some kind of sealing technique or something. Granted, he has a Rinnegan, he could use one of the Pat's abilities, such as summon the Gedomazo statue. I know it's usually an insta-kill with the dragon the Gedo can summon and probably devour your soul. Obviously, Aizen himself is a soul, so it would be interesting to see how you'd write that. Would the dragon just devour Aizen? That's the next thing. It's insane to think about, honestly. I think I'm definitely gonna do a part 2 on this. I probably think I need someone to join me on this, honestly. But that's just a general idea so far, and it's just getting long. And then it's ridiculous even in their higher stages, say 10 Tails Madara versus Hogyaku and post Hogyaku Aizen. Because the thing is, they both have ridiculous levels of regen on. Of course, Madara has 6 Pats enhancements, which raises his physical abilities to ridiculous heights. And honestly, towards the end of this, I can see each of them bringing out some way attempts to seal the other person. Honestly, that's how I honestly see this battle going towards the end. And honestly, I think it may end up in Madara's favor, because even though I probably dare to say that Aizen's Hogyaku and post Hogyaku abilities do put him at and probably an equal destructive capacity as Madara, as that 10 Tails Jinchuriki 6 Paths enhancement. But Madara has things in place, I'd say in place, to help him out if you're taking all your abilities into consideration and not some Black Zetsu foolishness, to actually counter Aizen. Say Aizen even beats him or tries to seal him with some strange Kido or something, Madara could pull out the Izanagi and he acknowledge Aizen as a worthy opponent and see the danger and potentially just pull out some kind of sealing jutsu to basically take Aizen out. So it's hard to say, especially since post Hogyoku Aizen's immortal essentially, and with his spiritual pressure alone, he could essentially take down the palace of the Soul King essentially. So in terms of destructive capacity, Aizen's up there in his Hogyoku and post Hogyoku states. Um, it's just insane. I think I'll definitely have to do a part two of this Madara versus Aizen video, because like going into this, I already knew it wouldn't have been as straightforward as I would hoped, and it kind of would feel back and forth. Like I knew that going into this, and a battle of this caliber just has too many variables in place. Dang it. There's no definite winner. It just really depends on who slips up first. Honestly. And the both of these guys are two arrogant assholes, honestly, who I'm pretty sure would come to acknowledge each other's abilities within the fights. And honestly, it's really up for debate. I'm probably gonna have to do a part two of this video. God damn it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Madara versus Aizen. I honestly, like, conclusively, I just think it would end up being a battle where it would come up to sealing techniques at the end of it, because as I've said, Aizen pre-Hogyoku, I'd probably give it to Madara because of his raw destructive capabilities, and then he has various abilities, even wood style, regen, and we know that Aizen, even though he is durable, but Aizen pre-Hogyoku doesn't have any regen like abilities, but he's ridiculously OP as well. Probably in terms of raw physical strength. Like if they were to go hand to hand, I would definitely give it to Aizen, like pre-Hogyoku. Aizen has like an arsenal of spells he can use Kido wise. Madara is very knowledgeable in sealing jutsus as well, I'm pretty sure, and elemental releases, as I mentioned, Izanagi. It's debatable if Kyokasui Getsu would even work on Madara, and if it did, reality warping with Izanagi is an option. And as I mentioned, Rinnegan abilities, man, like Shinra Tensei, he could wipe out, like, he could wipe out an entire village, Chibaku Tensei, like, but I do see Aizen getting out of, like, say, a Chibaku Tensei, but yeah. But anyway, this has been my kind of casual discussion ramble versus, and as I said, conclusive, I think it's just gonna come down to sealing, especially if we're talking about there are higher forms like Ten Tails versus Hogyoku Aizen. So yeah, as I said, let me know. I'll probably do a follow-up video to this. Hopefully, I'd prefer having somebody on. So if you're interested in like joining me for like a debate, or that, not even a debate, because I'm not even on any specific side here. Honestly speaking, we're about like a follow-up discussion on this little verse debate topic. So Sanjay Uchiha, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, people.